Today you're going to be working on researching different aspects of Mesopotamia using multiple sources. So when you open up today's assignment, it's going to look like this. It's a spreadsheet, and we're going to start over here by switching out your name, not mine, and whatever class period you're in. Then we're going to go over here and look at step 1. It's step 1, it says choose a resource to use to research. You can see here that I've listed 5 different resources for you. We have time maps, which is historical maps about Mesopotamia. We have early Mesopotamia, another website. Kids Connect, ancient Mesopotamia. Life in Babylon, and Mesopotamia for kids. So you're going to go ahead and choose which of these sources you would like to use to research. So you might make that decision as a group or with your AB partner or just on your own if you're happy working by yourself. I'm going to go ahead and put my, I'm just going to click on the box that I want, and then I'm going to Control-C to copy it. And I'm going to come down here to step 2. It says copy and paste the link to the source from the list above. So source 1 column and source 2 column, that's what I'm expecting you to have done by the time I'm back in the classroom tomorrow. Hopefully I feel better tomorrow and I'll be able to join you again. But I'm going to go here to source 1 and I'm going to paste so that I can keep track of which source I'm using to research. I'm going to go ahead and click to open that. So I have my resource right here for me, and I can use that to help complete the task. So back over here, the directions say step 3, look at each source that you chose, take notes with information that answers each of the questions in the colored sections. If a source does not talk about information that answers a question, then write N/A in the information box. That stands for not applicable, which means that there's no answer that works there from that source. So I'm going to go ahead and preview my questions. The first question I notice is the yellow box. What were houses like for ordinary farmers? And I'm going to be writing 1 fact per box over here in this column. The blue section asks what jobs or occupations are listed in this resource. The orange section asks how is education or school described? And the green section asks for some additional information that is addressed in this resource. So I'm going to be looking for information on houses, jobs, education, and anything else interesting. If I go back to this source and skim it, I can see that there's like a little introduction section, looks like some geography and some climate. And it's got some comparing and contrasting Mesopotamia and Egypt, and then kind of an outline of history. So as I get started looking at this, I think I'm going to skip the geography section and go down here to the history. I might find a lot of information here. So number 1, the pre-literary period. The earliest sources of information of human habitation come to us from the study of tools and pottery. It can be difficult to establish dates exclusively by these means, since later cultures might exhibit primitive styles due to lack of proper materials in times of war, flooding, or other catastrophe. Now, I'll just go ahead and keep reading until I hit something that seems to make sense, but keep in mind, I've already read these websites. I chose them for you. So I know that eventually when I get down here, it'll start talking about different religious beliefs that Sumerians had. And I can infer that some of the jobs they have are the job of priest. Looks like they have the job of rulers. Here's some more jobs: slaves, commoners, aristocrats. And as I keep reading, I can find some other jobs as well. It says a text written in the 7th century BC describes Sargon's birth. That's really talking about being a scribe, which we covered in class yesterday. So I can come here and start adding some notes that have to do with jobs. And it's 1 fact per box. So I can infer that being a scribe was a job because there is ancient text from Mesopotamia. And then something else I noticed was talking about religion. So being a priest is another job that existed in ancient Mesopotamia. And then if I keep considering, I'm actually going to go ahead and include slaves here. So slaves were also part of ancient Mesopotamia. They performed a lot of labor. And then as I keep reading, I might find out a little bit more about their houses. I might not. It might not mention houses. If it doesn't mention anything about houses, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to look really hard for that in my next source. So down here in the green section, it says what's some additional information addressed in the resource. Well, this should always be full, this section, because you're going to just find other interesting facts. So, for example, let's see, it says the ziggurat of Ur was a giant semi-pyramidal structure of brick covering an area of 200 by 140 feet. It was composed of 3 terrace stages crowned by a small shrine towering 90 feet above the city. Wow, that seems really impressive. That's a pretty big building. So here in the extra section, I might say the city-state of Ur had a really large ziggurat that was about 90 feet tall. And then I can just go back and keep looking for other interesting facts. So my expectation is that you go through 2 different sources today, and it's up to you what the sources are. But once you make a choice, you go ahead and copy and paste the source, then you read it carefully, and you start to fill in the information. If you find that you have some extra time today and you have nothing else to do, you're going to go ahead and go over here and click on this YouTube video, which takes you to a video called Nomads and Farmers. And it's approved for you to watch, so you should be able to access it. But this video will walk you through what life was like in ancient Mesopotamia, and it definitely talks about each of the categories on your assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the video is something that you would watch independently after you finish sources 1 and 2. Tomorrow you'll do source 3 and the video. And again, if you finish 1 and 2 early, you can go ahead and skip forward to the video so that you are always busy. So I hope that this tutorial helps you understand what my expectations are for today. This, along with Reading Plus, is the work that you will complete with the substitute. All right, guys, if you have any questions, you can feel free to email me at home, jpack@psusd.us.